Sophia, what you gonna do?
Sophia Glover encourages her family to vote. But as a convicted felon, she's permanently barred from casting a ballot herself.
They say that we are a free country. It doesn't feel very free. They take away a right that every American should have.
Glover was arrested in the U.S. state of Florida for driving with a suspended license and failing to pay traffic fines. She's one of more than 6 million felons barred from voting in the U.S. In Florida, the law prevents 1.5 million people, or 10% of voting-age residents, from casting a ballot. That includes 20% of the state's African Americans, higher than the national average. To get their vote back in Florida, former felons must wait 5 years after completing their sentences before appealing to the state's clemency board.
We get into a fight.
Applicants must often find the transportation and time off work to travel hundreds of miles to the state's capital to try to convince the governor to reinstate their voting rights.
The thought process is to try to get a feel for somebody's turn their life around.
In 2016, the governor granted clemency to 473 ex-felons out of more than 3,000 that applied, according to government figures.
It really depends on how he feels that day when he wakes up. I'm here to make sure that we strengthen our democracy.
Community organizer David Ayala served time for drug offenses. He's unable to vote, but is backing an amendment to the state constitution that would automatically restore voting rights to people with felony convictions. But opponents of the amendment say rights should be restored on a case-by-case basis and argue those convicted of felonies are likely to break the law again, pointing to figures from the State Department of Corrections. Other opponents say by not restoring voting rights to all former felons, the measure doesn't go far enough.
This is a poorly thought out amendment that needs a great deal of work before it is put into the Constitution. Sex offenders and murderers must continue to go through the clemency board to get their voting rights back. There is no reason to use the rights of a citizen as part of their punishment.
Supporters of the measure predict it will get the 50% of votes needed to change Florida's constitution. And Sophia Glover hopes the amendment passes so she can cast her ballot alongside her family in the 2020 presidential election. Steve Mort, TRT World, Orlando, Florida.